But this morning when I did the same thing, I was talking about it in my kitchen and I brought my kitchen with me to this evening. But like, how many of you guys, like, I saw a skit once and I thought about this because I do it, are on, this is a scale, are on your way to the scale to weigh your food, right? And on the way to the scale, you got your blueberries and you're popping them in your mouth as you, my food alarm goes off, as you're on your way to the scale to weigh them. And then you put them on the scale. It's probably not blueberries you're weighing, but pretend, right? And then you'll notice that it's not quite 3 ounces like you're supposed to have. It's 3.5. So you pull them off the scale, pop them in your mouth. Great. It's 3 ounces now, right? You've all done it. If you haven't done it, you're too new to have done it yet. And if you have been with me for a while and you say you've never done it, you're lying to me because I've done it. All right. I know it 110%, right? So you've done that. So also, you could be the one that nibbles off your kids' plates, or you're just like, it's healthy, so it's okay if I have a little bit. So I have a test for you. I actually did this morning. This has been sitting out for a while. It's all going to have to go in the trash. But I have a lovely little plate. Can we see this? So what we have on this little plate is a little bit of pulled chicken, some rice. This right here is some dark chocolate, almonds, trail mix, blueberries. So we like pick up a bag of, and I should have it with me, of dark chocolate. It says, in this particular bag of dark chocolate said, hey, I'm organic. I'm almost all 100% Keiko. I've only got 3 ingredients. And hey, I'm paleo too. Holy fuck, that shit's got to be healthy. So, you know what? A little bit of that can't hurt. Totally much more healthier than Chips Ahoy chocolate chips or whatever the hell they might be called. Got a bag of almonds. Those have got to be healthy. They're on my nutrition plan. So I'm going to have them, right? Yep, you're right. They're healthy. Trail mix. You're at the airport. God, this trail mix. This must be healthy, right? It's trail mix. It's got to be good for me. And then, of course, there's blueberries. So what do you think all of these have in common? Every single one of these right here, including this. They have one thing in common. What is it? Come off of mute. Tell me what it is.
I know what I'm trying to say, like grams, like how the portion size.
The portion size? Yep, you're close.
Am I saying it right? Yeah, I know
Close.
what I'm trying to say, but
Calories. The amount of calories. Is that what you're trying
but
to
the
say?
portion size is different than the amount of calories. That's a yes.
So what Lisa's trying to say is yes, every single one of these is 90 calories. So what I want to make a point about, and like on this morning's call, so like let's say, and I came up with this morning because I had my oatmeal, right? And you know what? You got blueberries on your oatmeal, but it might be fun to put a little dark chocolate on it. Maybe it would be. But what I want you guys to understand is this right here is 90 calories. You sprinkle that over your yogurt or your oatmeal in the morning for a little fun flavor. It's dark chocolate. It's only 3 ingredients. It's healthy. Kind of, yep. Joel says dark chocolate's okay to have. But this, my friends, is a cup of blueberries. 90 calories. Which would you rather have? Volume, guys. Volume. Does that make sense? Antioxidants, antioxidants. Not bad, but if you're trying to swap these out, say, or spice up your yogurt, I don't know about you, but I'm probably going to want to, you're gonna want, this isn't even a handful. How many of you take the dark chocolate bag, like I showed them this morning, and you dump that sucker into your hand, shoop, into your mouth. Oh, shoop, into your mouth. This is 90 calories. You do that twice, you've now had 180 calories. It's so easy to do. So that's like my point, where this blueberries dumped over, and I'm not saying that you have a cup of blueberries, but that this is what this is. 1 cup of blueberries tonight, which is 90, pretty much 90 calories to these chocolates dumped over your yogurt, stirred in your oatmeal, whatever. Do you see why we put these on your nutrition plan versus this? Same thing, but it's more volume. It's the same with the almonds. This little thing of almonds, which isn't even a handful, guys. If you were to grab a handful of almonds, now this right here is 90 calories, right? It's in your serving, but you think to yourself, well, it's just an almond. I'm just going to have another handful of them. It's not going to hurt. 90 calories. So when you reach into that almond bag and you decide to have another serving because you think it's healthy, remember, and again, the trade out volume. This is 90 calories. 2 handfuls of this is 180 calories. You could have the chicken and rice together for the same amount of 2 servings of almonds. And you're going to get protein and carbs in the volume here, guys. That's the difference. We're afraid of carbs. Also, the other thing, like trail mix, there's nothing wrong with trail mix, but it comes in a bag. I threw the bag away. I shouldn't throw the bag away because it gives you a lot more thought. This right here is 90 calories of trail mix. It's not even a handful. Not even a handful. If you were to pour this in an airport into your hand, take this handful. How many of you are going to stop at this handful? Or are you going to empty the bag? Because it said it was full of antioxidants and it was good for you, which it is. You're going to empty the bag. The bag was this big. That bag, how many handfuls do you know? It's a jar. If I went and got it right now, it's a jar this full of trail mix. That's like 1,000 calories. Does that make sense? And where? So the point here, guys, is one, to think about, that's where these little things add up. There's nothing wrong, and we get convinced that things are healthy, and we subconsciously do this stuff. Like, well, it's healthy, it's okay if I have a little bit here or there. One, my point is, know that that adds up, which is why we introduce you guys as you go through the program to starting to learn to track your macros. Because once you start entering that in and getting super honest with yourself about what you're eating, maybe in addition to your nutrition plan or in place of, you're going to have some aha moments. Like this morning, Lisa Evans was on there. She's like, yeah. She's like, because she did 2 check-ins ago, she went off her nutrition plan. She started tracking. She goes, I stuck that shit in my fitness pal. She goes, I was blown away by what I was eating. You're going to be blown away. And the other thing is a lot of times we lean more into fats than we do carbs and protein when we go off the rails. You'll notice when we give you refeed meals, or you allow us to give you refeed meals, we lean heavy into carbs and fats. Why? This. 4 calories per gram for a protein and a carb. 9 calories per gram for a fat, double the amount. Plus the carbohydrates give you what? Energy. I saw Lisa mouth energy. Correct. They give you energy. So they're going to give you that boost you need, where the fats are, you're going to get very little energy from them. They have a little bit of energy, but not much at all. They're just going to, now fats are not bad. Nobody's telling you to go on a fat-free diet. Those were terrible in the 80s, god awful. People were losing their hair and all kinds of shit. You need fats, but you only need a small portion of them. Like 24% of your caloric intake to 25% needs to be fats. The majority of it needs to be protein, and the mediocre part in the middle is carbohydrates. So there's that portion of it, and there's volume as well. So you're going to get a lot more because you can eat, for example, you can have 30 grams of protein and 30 grams of carbohydrates. It's going to be less calories than, which is 60 grams altogether, and it's going to be less calories than 30 grams of fat. So that's where that's what I want to spark with you guys. So the grazing and the what you're eating and where you're going. So like we talked about last week, like what's better? If you're in an airport, you're in a pinch and you're hungry and you don't have any protein powder, you have nothing. Should you grab the bag of pretzels or the bag of almonds?
Pretzels.
Pretzels. Yep. Gonna give you the carbs. Maybe stay away from, all the fancy pretzels, but a clean pretzel. Yeah, the pretzels. It's going to give you fast energy. It's going to be a little bit better for you. Beef jerky, things like that. Protein bars aren't bad, but we want to tend to lean to the trail mix. But if I had a handful of pretzels here alongside of this, I gotta let somebody in, hold on. Alongside of this trail mix, I'm going to have a huge handful of pretzels over here in relation to this trail mix. So just food for thought, guys. Like I thought about this. I know it happens a lot. So like starting to think about it, learning as you're going through the process of, that's why we want you to learn to track your food. That's why we make it super simple. Track your meal plans first, learn to swap out your foods, put in your refeed meals, because when you're doing all this stuff and you're following the process, you're going to start to see like, shit, when I put my refeed meal in that they gave me, this is what went up. I don't want anybody panicking. I remember one time Bretta had a heart attack when she put in her refeed meal and she saw how high her calories went. Well, that's okay. We want your calories to get boosted on a refeed day, but what you want to look at. So like Shannon, you got a couple of refeeds coming in. You need to put that into your nutrition plan and see what goes up, what goes into the red. When you do that, what's going to go into the red is probably going to be carbohydrates. You're probably going to go over in your carbohydrates. That's where that extra calories are going to come. You might even go over in your protein. And if you go, and you'll probably maybe a little get into the yellow with your fats, but not much. When you guys, Terry goes and gives herself a refeed. I love her, but I'm going to pick on her right now. And I look at it and she does enter it in. It's high, it's red where? Terry.
Good. I'm trying to unmute myself. Oh, was it Carrie or Terry? I'm the one who's the bad one. Are you bad too, Carrie?
Yeah, I messed up on one too. So it could be me.
Okay, you're both gonna always be Carrie or Terry, but it's heavy in fats. It's actually
it's fats.
Yeah. Yeah, it's up in fats. But as long as you recognize it, but when we give you refeeds, you'll notice, and that's why we want you guys to do it, because then you start to have these aha moments, and you start to figure out, like when you get to that place where you're painting your house a different color, and you're learning to like sometimes color outside the lines, you now know how to refeed yourself properly. And 90% of the time, it's going to boost you. You might go up a little bit in weight, but you'll come right back down again. Or if you're in a place that you need to start growing and gaining muscle, it's just going to boost you forward. It's also going to kick up your metabolism a lot. Like whenever and a lot of times, guys, when you get a refeed meal or your nutrition meal plan changes, a lot of times you'll get hungrier. So I've had a couple people say that's because we're boosting your metabolism. So like after a refeed meal, sometimes the next day you'll be hungrier than you were the day before. And the reason is we took some wood and we stuck it on the fire, we bursted it into a flame, and now your body's going, that's a good thing, because that means your metabolism is humming. and it's looking for body fat to burn or muscle to build, one or the other. Lisa's like, I have a love-hate relationship with my chicken and rice after my workout. I freaking love it. But the minute I'm done eating it, I'm hungrier than before I had it. It's because my metabolism just took off. I literally hate it. It's the same thing with breakfast. My breakfast and my post-workout meal are my biggest carb meals. I fucking love my breakfast. I look forward to eating it. I love salted peanut butter protein in my oats with blueberries. I'm like, oh, it's going to be so good. And it's going to hurt so bad when I'm done eating it. And it happens every time. It goes away, but it happens every time. But it's because it's just blasting me with it's kicking up my metabolism because I've been fasted all night sleeping, and all of a sudden I get a punch between the eyes with that. So I get, wood thrown on my fire. It's the same with after my workout. Does that make sense, guys? But anyway, talking about all this, my point is like looking at these things, learning to really track that food, because there's a reason. We're not doing it because we want to punish you. We're not doing it because we want to create more work in your life. We want you to learn what's going into your body so you can start to make the smart choices as you need to. And we do it in phases because it's easier for you to learn in phases and tracking your meal plan versus like somebody, like I've said before, like most of you, when I talked to you in the beginning, you joined the program, I could just give you macros, but then you don't know what the hell you're supposed to be eating. And not to mention every single person on here is as busy as hell. And if I was giving you macros only and you had to figure out what your meals were to fit those macros, that would be fucking hard. So we give you a meal plan so you don't have to think. But we also want to teach you about the macros so you can understand them. So if you start to switch things around, you can, and you start to learn what's going into your mouth. So the biggest thing is, like I said, we want you tracking, so you're actually tracking your meal plan. But then the key is not to just track the meal plan, but to track all the other shit that sneaks into your mouth throughout the day, because you'll have some really big aha moments. Speaking of busy, I'm at work. Somebody I can't see. Speaking of busy, I'm at work and there's an issue I'm going to have to handle. Thank you for the information. You're welcome. Does that make sense, guys? Helpful information.
Yes.
Yes. Sweet.
Always.
We're going to track our food, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I can be trusted with nuts or dark chocolate on my plan.
Okay, you got. And you know what? That is a wonderful. I'm actually glad you brought that up. Like, that's rightfully so. We talked about this morning. There are, there's life coaches out there. There's podcasts that you can listen to about discipline where they will say that you should be able to avoid certain things. And examples are like chips and shit in your house. Well, the reality is if you have the ability to keep that shit out of your house, keep it the fuck out of your house. Why would you want to torture yourself with that? That is insane. That's the definition of insanity. If dark chocolate and nuts, Carrie, is something that is going to be just way too tempting for you, absolutely. Say, yo, don't ever stick that shit in my meal plan and tell your family, get that fucking shit out of my house or put it someplace where I can't see it. There was literally, I had a friend that was a competitor. She was one of my friends, and she had a safe in her house. This is hysterical. And because her husband ate peanut butter, he was a pro bodybuilder as well. She was bikini. And she showed me this once in the fucking safe that she did not have the combination to. When she opened it, or when she showed me what was in it, I don't remember how she got into it, but was all this peanut butter under lock and safe. I was like, well, that's brilliant. But because he ate it, and she had this terrible weakness to it, and she was competing, it was in a freaking safe. I was like, that's awesome. That's awesome. So like if your kids like chips, I don't know, buy them a safe, tell them to stick it in the safe. There you go, Carrie. But anyway, that's a funny joke, but it's a true story. I thought it was hilarious. But why would you want to like, tempt yourself with that, Carrie? That's the definition of insanity. I don't have certain things in my house either because I'm tempted by it. So why have it in the house? Because I'm just gonna want it. So no, that's a really good thought. I love it. And feel free to tell us when you don't want something in your meal plan because it's going to tempt you. Somebody told us that once. They literally messaged us and said, don't put chocolate rice cakes in my meal plan again. And I just said, well, don't eat chocolate. Go buy a different flavor that you choose because I can't help myself. Like I'll eat the whole package. I'm like, okay, well, go buy a flavor you don't like. Make sense?
Um, it does, and I'm just curious, like, I know for me, peanut butter is a trigger, like big time, and it's always been in my meal plan, and I would say, I mean, okay, I like the spoon, I do, I like the spoon, I admit it, I'm never 100%, but I mean, like, do you think there's something to be said for teaching yourself to be able to go, I want that, but I'm not going to have that. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think it's totally like, I've had Reese's peanut butter cups in my house for like, I don't know, since the competition, because my husband bought me like I was going to eat a bag of them or something after. And I look at them and I just go, ooh, I want that. And I don't eat it. Like, and I feel so good. So maybe getting to that point it's a process, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so I like what you said, and I agree with you. And so when I look at you, Lisa, I would say there's certain things that you should have that level of discipline at. But I mean, many of you guys that are in a beginning state of the program,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't feel like you should torture yourself with that. And then I feel it becomes more of I don't like, again, like I said, there's a lot of there's podcasts, there's a belief that you should, as Lisa said, be able to manage that and have the level of discipline to look at it, and not have it. And I believe that is truly up to you and where you are in life and how you can manage it. There are certain things that I can have in my house and not manage it. So, like to your point, Lisa, when I lived with my boyfriend and he loved Reese's peanut butter cups, I love peanut butter, I love chocolate. I could look at those suckers and not eat them. There were certain things that could be in the house and I wouldn't have them, but I also have certain weaknesses that I just cannot have. So like I have peanut butter, but when I have peanut butter on my plan, I never have a jar of it. I have packages.
Right.
So I don't keep a jar. I keep packages in my house because I'm not going to open the package and eat the package. But if the jar is there, like Lisa, I might lick the spoon or, do things like that or have the little extra thing. And there's certain things that aren't bad. So like I'm very, very much the person that if I'm not trying to lose or lean out, I am the person that goes to the scale and on my way to the scale pops the extra protein in my mouth. I'm not going to lie. I am. That's me, but I'm not like, if I'm looking to maintain myself, that's really not going to kill me, right? But I'm very well aware of why the scale isn't going down or I'm not losing any body fat because I'm just I'm not keeping myself in a caloric deficit. I'm actually keeping myself in a maintenance phase and I'm not killing myself with that because it is protein and there's nothing wrong with it. Or I have a little extra rice here and there or a rice cake again, but it's I have to have the reality, like we talked about last week, that's why I'm plateaued. So like we had this conversation yesterday morning or last week in the morning and the afternoon about like plateauing. And when you plateau, and we know that we have you in a caloric deficit and we can see that you're doing the workouts and we know there's something up. And it's more about you being honest with yourself. And it, like I think was said in the morning call of last week, is parenting yourself. You might not even realize you're doing it. So like for me, the reality is Jules, you've been hanging out at the same weight for the past 18 months because you really haven't parented yourself. I don't binge eat or anything, but I am the person that, oh, fuck, it's not 3 ounces. It's not, let me just fix that. And in my mouth it goes. And then I say, well, it's just protein, doesn't matter. And to be honest with you, it worked, like I said, I think I said to somebody last week, is it worked in my favor. Honestly, I don't think my coach didn't give a shit about it because I needed the protein to repair the muscle and to recover from the surgery. But I sure as fuck couldn't blame anybody but myself for not losing any weight. Now my body composition continued to change and I look very different right now at 140 pounds or 139, wherever I sit, I float there, than I did 4 months ago, 2 months ago. My body composition keeps changing, but it's a very slow roll and there's no weight difference. So like you could put side by sides of me and see a difference, and it may have come faster had I behaved myself. But again, I didn't have I'm okay with where I'm at right now. My focus was on recovery. Now the reality is hey, chick, you right there in the mirror, if you want to lose body fat, if you want to get back to that dialed in lean shape of yours, you better buckle up. That's the conversation I have to have with myself, and I have to get really real with myself. We all have it. So it all, and I kind of spun off there and didn't really answer. So it just kind of depends. Like, so to answer Lisa's question, yeah, I have to have the discipline to be able to not keep putting the extra ounce of protein on my plate or eat it on and be the disciplined enough to do that. But I'm also going to keep shit out of my freezer that might be just way too tempting for me. But I also need to have that level of discipline with certain things too. I do believe in that. So I think it's a combination, Lisa, of both things, in my opinion. I certainly wouldn't tempt myself, though, if it's something that's really a big trigger, as Carrie was talking about, like, it's just suicide. Specifically, if you're just starting out in your journey. Why do that to yourself? Torture. Did that answer your question? Drive safely, Sylvia. Keep us on the floor. We don't need you getting pulled over. All right. Who's got some valuable information to add to that? Who's got questions about it? Did it hit home with anybody? Does it make sense? I see y'all smiling at me. Why unnecessarily tempt yourself? That's what Alyssa said. Yes. Just like tracking. Oh, I like this. Alyssa's on the call. She's probably at work. She's typing in. I like this. She says, yes, it's like tracking your finances. I like that. Deposits. You guys are quiet.
Jules, I have a question.
Yeah.
So when going back to the dark chocolate and the blueberries, I'd pick the blueberries every time. But if you're looking at the two and you want to change it up and you're considering the nutritional value, would the blueberries be better because they have fiber as well if you're not just looking at the caloric part of it, if you're looking at the actual nutrition of it? So when you're looking at all those different things, is that something to consider?
It definitely is, but at the end of the day, this has antioxidants in it, as does this. The blueberries definitely have more antioxidants. They have more vitamins, more nutrients than the dark chocolate. But dark chocolate is a superfood, but it also has, it does have sugar, some sort of sugar. So even though it's organic cane sugar, it's organic cane sugar. It also has maybe, some kind of oil in it, but it also still has, you see what I'm saying? Like the benefits,
Right.
you're going to wear them out. And at the end of the day, the reality is you could, if you had this in your meal plan and you wanted to trade it out for this, you totally could. I don't think it's going to kill you. Certainly, I don't think you're going to do it every time, but at the end of the day, the one thing that I'm going to say most of is you're going to have a hard time wanting to use just this when this is the option. Do you see the volume piece? That's going to be the harder issue for you because you're going to sprinkle, it's just human nature. You're going to sprinkle these little things over your oatmeal or your yogurt, right? And you're going to go, huh, And you're gonna, like, that's more my point. Like, I would be, you're gonna want to add a few more. And that few more is probably gonna be another serving. It's just the reality of it. So
It's
that's
kind of
why-
like the 20 almonds I get. I'm like, it's 20 almonds. It's like nothing.
right, you think it's not, but literally I
Yeah.
just showed you what it is. And so if you
Mhm.
have a few more, like that's it. So no, there's absolutely no, like, but what I want you guys to see is like, this is the same thing. So
Yeah.
you pour either one of these over your yogurt, and you're gonna have about, this is gonna have more carbohydrates to it than this is, all right? So the caloric intake is the same. So you're right, it's gonna have more fiber. It definitely has a few more antioxidants. It's got more benefits, anti-inflammatory. Well, dark chocolate too can have some of those things. So, antioxidant wise, probably very, very similar. This is gonna have more carbs, gonna give you more energy, gonna be more filling, has more volume to it. It's gonna look more appealing, make your plate fuller, where this isn't. Is it a bad trade-off to do every once in a while because you're digging a little bit of chocolate? No. Would I do it every time?
It's hard for me because to me, I've always I grew up this way. Chocolate is a treat,
Right.
whereas blueberry is a food. So I guess like to me, chocolate isn't a food. So if I'm eating it, it's like a reward or something. So I just avoid it at this point. Um, but I was just curious about that because like looking at the trail mix and thinking of pretzels, if you are going to try to trade out, I don't know. I kind of think of it like I'm considering the benefits of it because I've said that before. What is it going to do for me? I try not to eat the garbage because it's not doing anything for me. It's just garbage. So not the dark chocolate's garbage. I don't think that.
Yeah, no, dark chocolate isn't garbage and pretzels aren't either.
No.
If you're not getting shitty pretzels, sometimes the trail mix is more garbage than the pretzels are because it's
Yeah.
sugar and shit. So like, I see where you're going with it, but you have to think about like, that's where we get stuck with healthy and non-healthy. So what is it doing for me? Well, the pretzels are going to give you some energy. So I think it might have even been Carrie who had some trail mix at the airport one night over pretzel. And like, I'm pretty sure it was Carrie. And my point to her was like, why did, she felt like she needed some energy. She got stuck at the airport. She didn't have any more food. She was tired. She needed something for energy. Well, what the trail mix wasn't going to give you that. The pretzels were, because they're energy. So, when you look at that, well, what is it going to give you? Well, the pretzels over the trail mix are going to give you a little bit more energy. The blueberries over the chocolate, I'm not going to say more energy. The chocolate's going to have even though it's organic sugar, or the dark chocolate doesn't have a lot of sugar in it, it's very little. So it's better for you than anything else. The sugar content is pretty low. But the blueberries are probably going to give you more kick, more, it's not just about the health. They're going to give you a little bit more energy just due to the fact that their carbohydrate is going to run a little cleaner. It's going to give you a little bit more, it's going to make you feel full better. So like to answer the, what is it going to do for me? Still kind of answers the same way. But there's nothing wrong with dark chocolate. Like, it is a superfood. And if you're eating it at like 90%, or higher, 80, if you're up in the 90s with your dark chocolate, to have a little bit of it every once in a while isn't a big deal. And again, if you're on your MyFitnessPal and you're swapping it equally, you're going to see your carbs are going to go down a little bit. Your fat might jump up a little bit with the dark chocolate versus the blueberries. The calories are going to be about the same. So then it's up to you, like, on how you make those other adjustments and then decide. To me, it's more about the volume. That's why I bring this up, because I know what happens is then you sprinkle a little bit more because it's just not enough. It doesn't look right to you because we're volume people. We look at, does that make sense? Does that answer your question? So like, that's where I say, when you do this stuff, be aware. I'm just saying, well, like, I don't have anything on this plate that is necessarily bad or unhealthy. Even the trail mix that I picked up doesn't have a lot of sugar. It's completely dried. Like, this particular trail mix isn't like loaded with sugar or anything. It's a trail mix that is probably could be considered cleaner than any other version where it doesn't have added sugars to it, but it still has the sugars because dried fruit has more sugar, usually has a more higher sugar content to it than regular fruit. Don't ask me the why behind it, it just does. I want the drying, so like you'll notice that. But the nuts, they're not coated. I'm looking at them right now. It looks to like the raw almonds that are in it, and the cashews are in it are raw. So it's just looking at that volume. And it's like, that's what I really want you guys to like understand and hit home with. Like, because we think in our head, like I literally this morning dug into the bag. I had this out, the portion size of almonds out, and I said, this is 90 calories, right? And I showed it to him. Then I actually had the bag or the jar that I have in my house, and I dug into my hand and I said, okay, here's a handful. So I'm going to have an extra handful of almonds because we've all done that before, right? I tossed it on the scale. It was double the amount of a serving size. It was and I just winged it. I just dug into the jar. I said, okay, I'm going to have an extra handful of almonds because, what the fuck? It's just almonds. And I threw it on the scale and I showed everybody, and it was double the amount of the serving size of an actual. I did the same thing with the chips. Again, it was just, I don't have my scale here. I don't have the bag here. I didn't come prepared to do it, but I did it this morning. I did the same thing. I poured it into my hand, some dark chocolate. I threw it on the scale. I damn near doubled it just by grabbing a handful. So the serving sizes are key, and we never want to stick with them. And the company's pretty much counting on that. Same happened with trail mix. I dumped a bunch of the trail mix. Like literally I did it I'm going to put the recording in, but you'll see me do it. I did it every time, and it wasn't like planned or anything. I was just winging it. And but it's what we do. And then, like I said on this morning's call, it's never one handful. Who the hell takes the trail mix, one handful, which by the way was double the serving size, tosses it in your hand and doesn't take another handful? It's like you telling me that you have a pint of Haagen-Dazs in your refrigerator and you only take 2 tablespoons out of it. You're lying. You ate the whole fucking thing. You did. I had a woman tell me, like, she's like, I don't ever eat a whole pint. I'm like, you're lying to me. You're freaking lying to me. Well, it might be 1,200 calories, but who eats a whole pint? You do. There is not one person in here that eats part of that pint of Haagen-Dazs and puts it away. You might, but I bet you anything halfway through the night, you tiptoe back and finish that sucker off. Or you have at one point. I know. That's why it's not in my house. But it's the same thing. Does that make sense, guys? Like it's just having that awareness of it. Shit's gonna happen, but if I can make you more aware of it, you'll stop and think about it a little bit, and it happens. And that's the thing, like this is me adding on to like last week where we talked about like if you're plateaued, dial back a little bit. Don't beat yourself up, but dial back, zoom out, fly up at 30,000 feet and go, ho, ho, ho. Look at where those areas are because you can fix it. Because 9 times out of 10, unless you're in a caloric surplus and we are increasing your calories and you're looking to gain weight and you've lost all the body fat, like different story. Where'd she go? I lost her. Like Lisa's in a surplus right now. Like I want her to gain a pound every week, pretty much. So that's a different story. I don't want her gaining 2 pounds. I don't want her gaining 3 pounds a week. I want her gaining a consistent half a pound to a pound a week because she's growing muscle right now coming out of her competition, right? Some of you will get to that phase when you're in that growth or maintenance phase, then you're going to bounce around at a plateau, and that's totally cool because you're right where you want to be. You're in a sweet spot. You don't want to lose any more weight. You're happy with where you're at. Then that bouncy little line, until then, we want that bouncy little line to continue to go down. So if it bounces in a straight line for too long, obviously we as coaches have to look at a few things, but you guys got to look at a few things too. And be like, Guilty. Sorry, guilty. It actually helps us because if we don't know that, like there's very little we can do. It's better off if we know. Because we can't like up you, lower you, we can't do anything. We just gotta leave you where you're at because it doesn't, it usually it doesn't make sense. Y'all have been kicking ass lately. Seriously. Like I'm like, whoa. Whoa. Jen's been sharing some with me. Y'all been doing really good. So well done. All right. I'm open for questions. Terry, did you lose weight while you were sick?
I did. Well, because I gained weight after Disney.
I know you're just looking a little lean, like I was just curious.
I did a little bit. I did.
Mhm.
And then the workouts, I kind of wanted to go over that with you. I'm feeling intimidated again at the gym, and I even joined that other gym, but some of them I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want to get that weird looking dumb barbell and find it in the gym. I just don't. Can we just do machines? Like I can do a lot on machines.
You can either learn to trade out the machines or do it. Like that. I'm gonna be really honest with
I
you.
can make my own substitutions.
Oh, you
I
can.
just,
Because
oh
we've
my
done this
God.
before.
I
Yeah.
know.
You know what? This is a big move for you. You've just got to learn to do it. Like nobody's watching you. Nobody cares.
No,
Like
it's time too, though. Like I'll go and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm here forever. I have to get home. I have to eat my lunch, or I don't want to bring a big backpack with my lunch. Guess I'd have to do that. I know. Okay. All
I
right.
got a violin for you right now.
I know. I know. It's like,
And it's about this big. And I think everybody on this call has the same
oh,
violin.
it's like, all
Do
right.
you like what is your
I
goal?
really do. I see some of these workouts. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like,
You are the one
I'm
that
like, there's
wanted
God.
to change your shape.
I know.
What do you
I
want?
know. I don't know why. I'm more comfortable with those little machines, and I can just do my machines
So
instead of
here's
cables and clips and this and that. And I'm just like, oh my God. I don't know. It just stresses me out. It really does. It stressed me out today. Yesterday I did good. Today I was like, oh God. I know.
reps, it'll get better. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I trained with you. You're 100% capable of it. Some of those machines aren't going to do it.
Yeah.
Wrong. You just got to get out of your own way. No
Okay.
reason why you can't. I could put all machines, but you're not going to see much change. And you're strong as fuck.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you
Thanks.
are. I like you literally made the mistake of training in front of me, and
I know.
you are
Yeah.
stronger than you think you are. You're in your own way, and you even had a breakdown that day. So I think you just
Yeah.
get out of
I
your
know. Okay.
you are in your own way. You lack confidence and you don't believe in yourself. And I'm being super honest with you because
No, it's true.
you
I
said
know.
to me, like in the gym, like you couldn't believe that you did what you did and you broke down. You're that strong. So you just gotta like get out of your own way and do it because then everything's gonna change. That red
Okay.
bikini is gonna look fucking like fire. Like you're right there. Like if you
Yeah.
start to push yourself, like every time I look, like when I go sneak over and I look at where you're at with your progress pictures, you are like there. You just gotta
It's just like right on the edge. Ah.
push
Yeah.
the envelope and start to grow.
Okay.
So no, I don't really want to change it. I can, but why? Because
Right.
you don't want a bigger booty. You don't want bigger arms. You don't want a tighter waist. You don't want all those things that I know you do. Like,
Yeah, I know. Okay. Okay.
and I do lean into machines.
Yeah. Have to schedule more time and take the time to get used to it, and then I'm good.
You're fine.
Okay.
You train at a gym that Amber and Jen are at, for the love of God.
I know.
It's not
I know,
like-
but they're not always there. They're not always there.
No, but I've been to that gym. It's pretty quiet.
Yeah. It is quiet, which is very lovely. It is nice.
Great. Did we
All
go?
right.
We got that settled?
Yeah, that was my little
All
breakdown.
heard
Thank
her.
you.
She's gonna do her workouts. Everybody, make sure Terry's on her workouts in the community. Lifting the weights.
Lifting the weights, even though they look weird, this barbell that has a square around me where I just didn't even do it. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Do you
I was
want to
like,
know why the hex is in there?
to
Because
help
it
with,
looks
I don't
weird,
know.
but it's actually easier for you to do it. You want to know why it's in
Oh.
there? Because it's easier to keep your form and do it with the hex bar than it is with the straight bar.
Which makes sense because it's on the side and you're not leaning as much.
So
Yes.
exactly. The weight is distributed. So the reason,
But it literally was like in a little corner, and I'm just like, am I even able to go in that corner? Like, I really do have to get out of my head and not be so shy. I really do.
because
Yeah.
literally the what's in your program is like for your own benefit. So yeah, guys, when you have like when I put the hex in, like a lot of times you can alter it for a barbell, and like, you know, some of you that do home stuff that don't have a hex, I usually give you an alternate. But if I have a hex in there, usually almost all gyms have it, and the reason for it is the way that it distributes the weight around you. So RDLs with a hex or bent over rows with a hex, which is that crazy looking barbell, are the best way for you guys to begin because of the way the weight is distributed versus trying to, so like when you have a barbell, that weight will go out in front of you and it can be harder to balance until you really lock in your form. It's really hard to fuck up your form with a hex. You can. Terry might. But it's really hard. It's really, really hard to do it. I'm teasing you, Terry. You actually have very good form. Again, I've watched you. You have good form. You just got to get out of your own way. Let's see what the comments are saying down here. Sylvia has to drop it off, but thank you. Great info. Do I live? Oh, Alyssa. It's okay to be. Oh, Alyssa's talking to you. You live in Vegas. She works out at Lifetime if you want to come join me. That's Alyssa. Yes, Alyssa, if you're still on.
Sorry, I didn't even see that. Yes, I would love
Alyssa,
that.
She does.
Yes.
Alyssa, yeah, she does live in Vegas. Absolutely. There you go.
Okay, I'll get in touch with you. Thank you, Alyssa.
She said, call me.
Okay. Oh my God.
There you go. You
Okay.
got all kinds of
Thank
stuff.
you. Okay, got the number. I'll call you. Thank you.
I forgot she does live. Yeah, there's a lot of Vegas peeps in here. Alicia Santos, you're in Vegas too, aren't you? She is too. There you go. Have a party. Carrie's in Vegas. But I know Alicia and Alyssa. There you go. I look forward to seeing your selfies and posting them of you guys in the gym killing it. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait. Alyssa, Alicia, I want a picture of her with the hex posted in the group.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yes, let's do it. Awesome. Done.
Okay.
Awesome. By the way, guys, for those of you in Vegas, mark the dates. I know we've got a lot of stuff going on in September, and it's coming up fast. We've got the 16-week challenge, which we've got some of you guys that are tied up for that. So I can't wait to see where that goes. But I will be in Vegas. I won't be there until I'll be there. I think I'm coming in on the 9th. And I'm going to be there for a full week. I do have a couple of business meetings on that Tuesday and Wednesday. And Jen's, I'm looking at my calendar if you're wondering what I'm doing. Jen's show is on Saturday. But I will have time. So we can, for anybody that's coming, I can message and create a schedule if you guys want to work out with me. I'll create that space for some of you guys. There's gonna be a lot going on that week, but I'll see what I can do and create some openings. So you guys can train with me for those of you that may want to, that are in Vegas, because I'm gonna be there a little longer than I normally am. So I will try to remember to put that. It's coming up fast, and I'm forgetting. I was like, fuck, that's coming up fast. Who, by the way, all right, wait a minute. I need somebody to raise their hand and volunteer for this. Sandy, are you coming to Las Vegas for Jen's show? Jennifer McCombs is coming in. Maybe she's.
I'm
ready.
hoping to. I've got something I'm trying to rearrange that's on that same day.
Okay. Terry, I'm volunteering you.
There you go.
You're a good organizer, aren't you?
Yeah, sure, I am.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and and this will be great. You and Alyssa and Alicia can all work on this together. There you go. I'm putting you all in charge of it. So, Jen's show, this is way too much for her to think about. So we got to figure out who's coming in for Jen's show, get the details out to everybody. So if they want to have tickets and go see her, that everybody knows where her show's at. It's going to be the 14th. I actually posted it on my story today, the name of the show, but you guys, so people know where to buy tickets and all of that kind of stuff to go to it. And Terry, you did this last time, so you're actually
I
perfect.
did, but it's September 14th, you said? September?
Mhm.
It's my anniversary, and we're already booked at Fontainebleau for the weekend. I can help you guys go. I'm so sad. I really wanted to go to her show. I didn't know it was September 14th.
I said,
Darn it. My daughter wanted to go because she was her student. Ah, darn it. Oh,
yeah.
I can't even go to the show.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I know. I thought it was going to be earlier. I didn't know when in September it was going to be. Shoot.
Yeah, so we do have to start planning it now. So
Okay.
well,
But I could help get information out there because I had already gone, so
Okay.
I can help with the
okay,
parking and all that. It's the same place, right? The Plaza Hotel, I
it's at a
think, or
different-
wherever it was.
Yeah, I think it's at a
Or,
different place.
okay.
So you can
Okay.
get with Jen, ask Jen to send you the information, and then maybe figure
Okay.
out, like get the information from the show, post it so people know where to get, like we did with Lisa's show, so people know where to get tickets that want to go, and then we'll organize.
Alyssa just posted it, I think.
There,
It's,
look how fast she is.
yeah, look at her. She's more organized than me. She's much more organized.
All right.
Crazy. Yeah, she has it there.
All right, so post it,
okay.
also take it, and we'll post it in the group, and you guys can figure out who's going. You guys can get tickets, and then we'll organize like with me and the days that I'll be training there. Okay? That was fun. I won't end the call until you get the information off the chat. Although I am going to repost this chat, so you should be able to get it there too. I'm going to stop recording. Jesus Christ, I recorded all